Gordon, Gordon, I need you to silence Mia. At this point, it's getting ridiculous. Every single episode, if Mia is on the screen, she pulls out yet another lie about Gordon. This narrative that she continues to give is dangerous, and I don't like it. And I don't feel like it is fair to people who actually have this disorder. And I'm not saying he doesn't, but I'm not agreeing with the way that she continues to describe this thing. The truth is, even if Gordon is having any type of mood swings, it's not solely because of him being bipolar. The man is hurt, and it's more likely because of the fact that he is hurt that he is having these various moods. And it's also probably because of the way that Mia plays in his face. We've witnessed it, and it's not right. Jacqueline. I do not understand why Jacqueline keeps allowing Mia to use her in order to get to Karen. Jacqueline, in my opinion, is out here looking crazy because it's clear to me at this point, we know what we know now, that Mia fed her various lines, told her to pop up in spite being told no. I need for Jacqueline to stop allowing Mia to pimp her out because that's how it comes off. Anyways, hey fam. Welcome back. Tisha here, back with another Real Housewives of Potomac review. Let's go ahead and get into it. Do me a favor, hit the like button. It helps me in the algorithm. So we pick up the scene with Jacqueline and her balloons. Karen, I'm here for love. I want, to be the weightlifter, to bring peace, love, and light. She announces that she brought 8 balloons. Before she could even get out the explanation for the 8 balloons, Mia is laughing, which lets me know that Mia is aware of what her sidekick is about to say. So she says, the balloons, they represent Karen's 8 citations, and Stacy's face in that moment is mine. So she's trying to explain these 8 balloons and these 8 citations as she passes them out. And Stacy says, this isn't funny. But I noticed that Stacy and the others took the balloon. If I don't agree with something that you're doing, I'm not going to take the balloon. Wendy says, you can't come here and then on top of everything be shady. Saying 8 citations is shady, and it is. Karen, you now, because of this police cam, have put your defenders in a really bad position because we've seen the footage. But for the purposes of this, I'm going to try really, really hard not to keep referring to it because it makes everything that's going on in this scene make me want to kind of side with Jacqueline. But if I didn't know what I know now, I would have a problem with what Jacqueline did. So I'm going to try to take it from that standpoint. So she's like, I just wanted, to release it in the atmosphere. I personally hate when people do that. I get the symbolism of it, but use other things like candles. They have come up with all butterflies. There's other things that you can do. Well, some people maybe feel like, use freezing butterflies and then releasing them. The point is, there's something other than balloons that you can do, right? So Mia gets up to help Ray escort her friend out. And Jacqueline, still trying to make sure that she hands out these balloons. She's like, I'm not going till I hand out the balloons. Karen is pissed. Karen's like, what you can do is you can make sure that you get out of here before I call 911. I said, Karen, not 911. They have better things to do than continue to have their time wasted around you. They don't have time to be worried about you. I know you're the grande dame, as you told the officer. See, there I go. I'm referring to the video. They got other things to do. So Giselle says, her bringing the balloons is nice and everything, but what she should have done was bring a present. And I'm like, what in the world is Giselle talking about? But we find out later Giselle says she didn't hear it. So the party is beyond chaotic at this point. You got Ray trying to handle the doggy and Jacqueline. You got Karen yelling, "Ray, get your hand from around her." Because he has his hand around her back, escorting her out, and she's apologizing for disrespecting his home. You disrespected his wife. This isn't just about his home, but we'll go there. We won't go there. Ray's escorting her all the way out. I mean, you get her off the premises, she's walking, but he continues to walk her out. And you got Eddie singing Kumbaya, my lord, Kumbaya, as Wendy is focused on the food, fish to be exact. So Mia follows her to the curb. They're trying to act like her popping up was a good gesture, like it was a good thing. And she's like, at this point, I'm off Karen's property, so I can stand right here and stay right here as long as I want to. Mia then tries to throw shots about Karen and how she's renting her place and how you can't be found to be trespassing when you don't own it. And I was looking at Mia like she's crazy. Let's be clear. I live in an apartment, so there's no judgment. But Mia, out of all people, trying to shade somebody for not owning something is laughable. Because correct me if I'm wrong, and in this case, I know I'm not. Was it Mia and Gordon? Didn't we see them move from, I don't know, a house to an apartment to another apartment? And she's still in an apartment currently, sometimes even an Airbnb. Wasn't it her dumb that spent over $10,000 for renovations for a place that she didn't own nor no longer resides in? So Mia should shut up and take her own advice. I can't stand that lady, y'all. She gets on my nerves, and it just is like she's willing to go lower and lower and lower, but we'll get to it. So Ray, at this point, is living his best retired life. He is getting his Baywatch on as he watches the mermaids take off their tails. He's like, "Oh, y'all taking off your tails? I was just, about to join you." He says, "I wanted to swim with you guys, but our intruder, kind of messed it up." I said, Ray is going to get in trouble with Karen when she sees this. So the mermaids are flirting back. I guess they think that he got some money, so they're flirting back. They tell him that they'll come back and swim with him another time. No, you'll be lucky if you ever get hired again after you fool around with the Grand Dame, because nobody is allowed to play about her man. So everyone sits down to eat. Key can't eat anything because there's cheese and everything, and she doesn't eat that type of stuff. Mia says, Karen, I didn't want you to feel disrespected. And Karen's like, "Leave me alone, Mia, leave me alone." And I don't blame her, because it's a lie. Her entire purpose for this season and for that moment is to put Karen on blast. And after seeing what we've seen, I get it. But in this moment, you're not privy to a lot of things, so let it go. Karen asks Jacqueline, not Karen. Ashley asked Jacqueline how Jacqueline felt after she left. We don't care. It doesn't matter. Karen toasts to Jacqueline making it back to her own home safely. Then Stacy asks a question that we already know the answers to, which is, how did she get the address? No, she didn't ask that yet. She says, "Mia, did you know that Jacqueline was coming by?" Mia's like, she did mention that she was going to stop by because she's in the area. And I told her, I'm not going to stop you from doing what you like to do. In other words, yes. As always, Mia put a battery in her back, told her to come by, because if Jacqueline says she had no desire to come, then what are you doing there? Seriously, like, why are you there? Stacy then talks about the balloons and how she didn't like it and how she didn't appreciate her referencing the citations. And Giselle's like, "Oh, I completely missed that. I was excited about getting my balloon. I didn't realize that she said it was about the citations. Y'all tell me if you believe that or not." Because at first I didn't, but then later on in the episode, the way Giselle was acting about it, maybe she didn't hear it. Karen says, "Mia, at this point, this is between me and Jacqueline. You need to stay out of it. We see everybody's finished eating, and then Mia has nothing better to do than to get in the pool. Like, nobody else is getting in the pool. The mermaids aren't even in the pool anymore, but she decides to take off the bottom of her set and jump in. And to me, the desperation is real. Wendy's like, oh my goodness, look at Mia. Then she remembers that her husband is right beside her and he's about to look, and she's like, oh, never mind. Don't look at Mia. Don't look at Mia. Next scene is 3 days later. We see a montage of the ladies getting ready for their trip. Ashley says that she's ready to have her cheeks out. Wendy is, making sure that Eddie knows what he's supposed to do and, tells her daughter to make sure that she looks after the boys. It's cute. Mia is getting ready for her trip while she's talking to her daughter. We find out that the kids are not going to be staying with Gordon, that instead they'll be staying with the nanny. I thought Gordon was the nanny, but I guess they have additional nannies on top of that. We see Josh later drop Ashley off at the airport. We see others arrive as well. And Karen is paying Jacqueline no attention, to the point where she does not even say hello to her. Karen and Giselle embrace each other. They talk about how it was so wrong for Jacqueline to show up unannounced. Karen wants no part of her and feels like at this point, they need to stop trying to force a friendship, and that the OGs need to teach them a lesson. They need to take them to school. Good luck with that. Everyone heads to the plane. Karen suggests that Jacqueline wait for her best friend, and Jacqueline's like, at least I have a best friend. They arrive in the beautiful Panama. I'm telling you guys, I often wish that they would spend more time showing us the scenery. They gave us a nice aerial shot, showed us some of the architecture, but I really, really wish we would get more than that sometimes in some of the mess, because one of the things that I look forward to these shows is the cast trips, is the food, is the cultural aspects, and we got a little bit of it in this. So the ladies are on the Sprinter about to head to the resort. Wendy lets them know she has some announcement. She tells them that they have a long ride ahead of them. She informs them that it's going to take 2 hours to get to the resort. In my mind, you have 3 options. Talk amongst yourselves, get some rest, or enjoy the scenery. Me personally, I would be enjoying the scenery, taking some pictures, recording some things. That would be my mission while we're en route, because you're going to be seeing things that you may not see once you get on the resort, because resorts are set up differently. So once they get there, she says, I'm going to let you all know what villa you're assigned to. There'll be 3 different villas, etc. So Stacy decides that this is going to be a perfect time to question some of the ladies. So she asks Ashley, what did she mean the other day when she said that her spidey senses are going off for TJ? And Ashley's like, look, I ain't mean anything by it, but I just don't feel like there's a lot of chemistry between you two. Neither do we. And by we, I mean me. Me, myself, and I. We don't see it either. Y'all tell me if you see it. So Kate says, well, there was a little bit more touching. There was a bit of an embrace. And Stacey's like, oh yeah, you said that we had a Christian kiss. What does that mean? Tag me in, Key. Tag me in. That means that your kiss was giving very much G-rated, G as in for general public, meaning that the way that you kissed him wouldn't have offended anybody. I've seen siblings kiss each other like that. It was like and it was, it wasn't much. I personally wouldn't call it a Christian kiss, though, because I've seen Christians kiss and they get nasty, just like everybody else. It's giving platonic, we'll say that. So a few ladies agree. And Stacy is like, I've just determined that I am not ready to be in a romantic situation with anyone. Right now, I'm just trying to focus on, processing everything with my divorce. And Karen's like, okay, that's all great, but that's not what you said in the beginning. You first told us about that man and you acted like you were so much in love with him and like he was this great guy and that he was so in love with you. And we get a flashback that basically confirms that. So Stacy then tells us that the situation with her and the ladies has gone from them being concerned to them now ridiculing her. And these ladies need to be worried about their own relationships or the lack thereof. I personally feel when it comes to situations like this, Stacy has made it known that she does not want to hear your opinion. So back off and allow her to figure it out for herself. Hopefully she catches on sooner than later. Hopefully she's not hurt and she doesn't fall on her face, because it doesn't seem like TJ is really trying to go there with her, especially because She was married for 16 years. Like, that's a lot to process. So it's a few minutes until their arrival, and Mia starts giving a speech about how she's so proud of Stacy and the ladies because despite all of them going through divorces, they're doing great. Mainly Ashley and Stacy, because she's like, I know I get on you, but I get on Ashley too. Ashley then changes the subject and talks about her situation and lets us know that she likes her new man and that at this point she's already slept with him. I don't really I'm not going to tell anybody to do with their what to do with their body. I know for me it would be a no, especially because you've only known him for a matter of weeks, and on top of that, she brought him to her home. You can't do that with everybody. Well, I don't know if it was her home. She said stay the night, but that would imply to me that it was her home. Either way, be careful, people. And I'm not just going to say ladies, people with things like that, because it really takes a lot to get to know people. Ashley, you're a public figure and you don't know what people are capable of. And I just hope that she's done enough to make sure that she's not putting herself in harm's way, because at some point her kids do stay there. If it wasn't at her house, disregard everything that I said. But if it was at her house, I'm looking at you sideways. She says that she has not felt this way since she's been with Michael. I don't personally know if that's a good thing. Wendy feels like she can do better than a young Jack Harlow. Who am I to say? I just feel like based on what you went through with Michael, make sure that if you're trying to be serious with somebody, that you really take your time and figure this man out. So we find out that not only did he take her to the airport, he spent the night. I said that. And then they asked Ashley if she is sprung, and she's like, I wouldn't say sprung, but then in the confessional she's squealing and she's like, we had a really great night. Good for Ashley. Sounds like she had a fun night with a younger man who could probably keep up with her. They arrive at the Buenaventura Golf Resort Villa and it's dark out. They are greeted by dancers and staff in beautiful traditional attire. They get their drinks. Wendy lets everyone know that we're going to find out now where we're staying. So Wendy, Key, and Mia are in one villa. Wendy admittedly put Karen, Ashley, and Jacqueline together to be messy. I said, Wendy, why? We want to have a good time. But Wendy says because, she chose chaos. And at least she's being honest about it. Stacy is with Giselle, and she's not happy. Giselle isn't about it at all because she thinks that Stacy is boring. All the ladies find their rooms, they get ready for dinner, and they head to the beach area where there is black sand. I kind of think that would be cool. I've never been to a beach with black sand. But they head over to the beach with black sand, and they are greeted by Congo dancers. Or is it conga dancers? And amongst the dancers is someone who is a dancing devil. Most of the ladies don't want to have anything to do with the dancing devil. No judgment. I probably wouldn't either, but I was admiring the costume design. I was admiring all of them because it was such pretty colors, especially in the women's attire. I just love things like that. So they sit down for dinner and you can hear the water in the background, and Stacy even mentions it, and it sounds so tranquil until they open up their mouths. So Wendy asks the host, what kind of devil was that? Is he like a good devil? Are we dancing against the devil? Like, what's that situation? And the host explains it's just a dance. It's a demonstration. Karen says that the devil gravitated towards her because she knew, the devil knew that she was surrounded by the darkness upon her. It's coming down. And Jacqueline, in her mind, represents some of that darkness. Karen, it's not even about Jacqueline at this point. It's about you and how you're a liar, and that at this point we're however many episodes in and you're still lying about things and deflecting. And at this point, I'm just so disappointed in Karen, and they're going to eat her up in the reunion if she goes. Giselle then tells her that, while we're talking about it, it was messed up. She says it was effed up for you to show up with the balloons signifying her citations. And Ashley is in confessional. She's like, wait a minute here, Giselle. You're one to talk because we did the same thing. Showed up at Karen's house with a pizza and we put it on her doorstep. So, we did it too. Jacqueline says, people are not seeing that my intentions were good. And I brought the balloons to symbolize the reason, the release of the 8 citations. It was just something pure and from my heart. The way Mia was cackling, I don't feel like there was anything pure about it. Giselle says that you're saying that, but that wasn't the energy that you gave. And then Giselle makes reference to how she was talking. I'm like, wait a second, Giselle, I thought you didn't hear her say anything about the 8 citations. Karen's like, at this point, I just don't want to be around her. No, Karen didn't say that. Giselle said, Karen doesn't want to be around you. Karen then lets Jacqueline know that she is in the process of pressing charges because she was not invited to her event and it's illegal to release balloons. When she said that, I started laughing. I was like, okay, so we're going to bring up the balloons. So Mia's like, Karen did the same thing to honor her parents, and we see a flashback of that. Stacey says, I mean, it is a problem when it comes to like the birds and the animals and stuff, and it isn't good for the atmosphere. I don't know if it's illegal, but as I said earlier, I'm not with it. So Karen starts talking about how global warming is real and things like that cause global warming to be a bigger problem. And she's like, yes, I'm looking into filing charges. So Giselle says that Mia co-signing this situation and being okay with what's going on here really bothers her, and that the citations pushed her over the edge. As I said before, when did it push you over the edge if you didn't hear it before? Because you didn't seem that bothered by it when you were, at the lagoon, the Love Lagoon. So Mia's like, I mean, she could have done way worse. And you hear, for what? Why would she do worse? Karen says, your little plan failed. You came to stunt. The charges are pending. And Jacqueline's like, look, I apologize for showing up at your house, but I'm not going to apologize for the message because my message was pure. And Karen's like, at this point, it is about my family and their safety. As I said before, they are going to eat Karen up. You can't sit here talking about your family and your safety and then their safety and do the things like what you did, which got you into trouble and got us watching camera footage of you being drunk as a skunk. It's not going to fly. Somebody has to prepare Karen. Karen, I don't know who your publicist is. I don't know who your attorney is. I think I can't say she needs to get another one because who's to say? He might have told her to take the plea deal and she might have not listened. Either way, get into rehab, do something to help yourself out of the situation. I understand you not going to the reunion may cause a big problem with your contract, but you better figure something out and be prepared because these girls are going to eat you alive. And I got to be honest, you deserve it. Stacey says, I want to know, how did you even know where Karen lived? And everybody is like, because Mia told her. So, of course, Mia denies it to them. And then later production is like, okay, did you get that? And she's like, no, I didn't tell her. Maybe she didn't tell her. My guess is if she has an iPhone, or apparently now the droids can do it too, she pinged her location. She sent her the location saying that she's here, or she allowed her to follow her for a brief couple of hours and she saw where the address was and she popped up. Who knows? Giselle then takes this opportunity to talk to Mia. She tells Mia, like, Mia, it seems to me like you've been lashing out a bit. Because one thing about this group is that we don't mention kids. And I told you that my girl snuck boys into the house, which is par for the course. It's what happens with teenagers. And I don't like what you did. I do not think that Giselle was hard enough on her. We'll get into it. She's like, if I want to present my kids as perfect, then that's what they are. She says, I used to sneak boys into the house all the time, but I can guarantee you that my kids weren't doing the things that she was doing. I wish she said that to her face. I wish she did, because it would have carried so much more heat. You cannot come in confessional and then flex on her right there and then, because I still think she took too long to address it. So Mia doubles down on what she says and then repeats it. And Ashley says, I can't believe that she's doubling down on it. This is the time where she should say something remorseful, where she should apologize. Wendy then points out the fact that it's a little, messed up here because there's some hypocrisy because she's like, Giselle, I gotta say this, but when you thought last year in the DR that I was making faces about your daughters, you got mad at me because of what you thought I was doing. And here in this instance, you know for a fact that Mia was talking about your girls, and you're not giving her nearly as much grief as you gave me. It's true. It's really, really true. It's really, really true. And she should have been harder on her if, she's supposed to be your friend. So she says, I feel like you should have had a harsher response from Mia. But it's clear to me that she is elective basically at who she gets mad at. And Giselle's like, we're not going to do that. We're not going to do that. We're not going to compare the two of you because me and I were friends. Me and I, are friends. And she said that last year, you and I, Wendy, we were not in a good place. And I said, thank you, Giselle. Thank you for reminding us of why we don't like you. Because that reasoning makes absolutely no sense. If you're my friend shouldn't be saying anything demeaning about my child. If my friend says anything negative about my child, it should be done in a matter where you are concerned for my child or you're concerned for me. And it definitely should not be done on television with mics and cameras, especially because these are teenage girls. And once you put that out there, people run with it. But Mia knew what she was doing. Mia wanted to dig at Janelle. And if this is supposed to be your friend, Janelle, you should have came down on her even harder. My opinion, you tell me yours. Because if you come at my child like that, I'm going to spray you. Giselle was nice. Giselle was too nice. Wendy tells us, at this point, Giselle let me know her opinion and her response and the reason why she did what she did. And I just am making note of the hypocrisy. Good, you should. Karen then says, Mia, how would you feel if the roles were reversed and somebody was talking about your kids like that? And she says, y'all did. And we get flashbacks, but it's not of them talking about her kids. It's about her talking about the things that she said, that she put out there about the kids. Ashley says, you're the one who says certain things. You're the one who puts up certain things on social media, like the post that you put up on Instagram saying Happy Father's Day. And Jacqueline starts making excuses saying, there's a lot that you all really don't understand about what Mia is going through. And it's tough for Mia right now. Mia is not going to keep playing in my face, and Mia can fake cry as much as she wants to. I don't believe anything she says at this point. Mia's like, you guys, I'm not going to get emotional. I'm not going to get emotional. I'm not going to get emotional, but you guys don't understand what it's like to, live in my life and to, wake up with Gordon being the way he is, and I was in foster care. And, because of that, I tell all my dads, Happy Father's Day. If you're fathering a kid, if you're showing up, then I say Happy Father's Day. They're like, yeah, I don't agree with that. I don't. Father is a very, very important title. And I don't think just because you're sleeping with this man and he pops up every now and then is around your kids that he's a father, especially because you told us several episodes ago that the kids don't even know that you're with him, that they think that he's a friend or uncle or something like that. Yeah, right. Wendy says, I may just be different from other people, but at this point, I'm not going to kick her while she's down. She's not down. But y'all falling for it. And once again, Wendy is proving that we are not the same because I would never get off of Mia's neck after she assaulted me the way that she did. It's the next day. Jacqueline is trying to get somebody to take pictures of her. She calls a guy to do it. Karen then ends up grabbing the thing. She's taking pictures. I don't even know if she was getting her. She was probably getting the pool. She says she took a couple. Ashley comes by, says I'll takes over. Karen says the fact that I even did that was like an olive branch. And maybe we'll, be okay if she doesn't F up anymore. And when she gets out of that Fashion Nova outfit. Karen, as I said before, they're going to get you at the reunion. Because the way you were looking on that camera footage, the way that wig was sliding back, the way it looked like you just got out of somebody's bed or you accidentally spilled alcohol in your hair, you can't say anything about the way that anybody's looking right now. So we see Stacy, Giselle, Ashley, and Kierna are sitting at the table because they joined Karen eating breakfast. Stacy is talking about how vibrant the flowers are in Panama. They do look beautiful on the table. I never considered going to Panama, but seeing this, I want to look into it a little bit because I actually think I would like it. It looks beautiful. I want to see more. So, Jacqueline comes over, saying that she wants to sit down too, but there isn't a chair. So she goes to get a chair. And instead of her picking up the chair or asking a member of staff to pick up the chair, this heifer slides the chair all the way across the floor, making the loudest sound like somebody's dragging a table across the floor. It sounds awful. It makes a significant amount of noise. They're all looking at her like, did you really have to do that? Oh, Wendy then comes outside. She gives each one of them a nice bag that has their name on it, lets them know that inside the bag there's a Stanley cup along with some other things. There's some rum because they're going to be doing a rum tasting. I notice how quickly the production team zooms in on Karen and focuses on her. People notice that Mia isn't there, and it is because Mia is on the phone talking to her mom, saying that Gordon took the kids from Jacqueline's house and decided to drive 4 hours away and drop them off to their old nanny. Who is their old nanny? Is it a relative? And I agree with Gordon. Why were the kids at the house instead of with him? But Gordon, why did you also drive the kids all the way there instead of staying with them? Or maybe he is with them. I don't know. So she is upset and she's like, I don't know what to do and I just need you to contact him. And she's just so flustered and she's like, Mom, keep me posted because he's not answering. If you're really concerned, if it's really that serious, then you would be leaving because you're so concerned, right? You don't know what Gordon is going to do. Anyways, there may have been something that I left out that you want to discuss. Feel free to put it down below. As I asked earlier, like the video, please, because it helps the channel. And we are growing, y'all. I cannot believe it. I literally have grown by like 200 followers because of one Say What video I did about Truly from Sister Wives. And it's mind-blowing to me because I didn't think it would get a lot of views because I put it out super duper late on a Saturday because I was out having fun. But everything happens for a reason. So we're growing. And if you're new to the channel, welcome to the fam. Until next time.